And we are live. So thank you very much for joining the stream today. So if you haven't already heard the news, unfortunately we have two big emulators, Nintendo Switch emulator and the Nintendo 3DS emulator have been taken down. So of course earlier this week, Yuzu was involved in a lawsuit with the Nintendo. And then today we also had news that basically Yuzu are offering to pay a settlement of $2.4 million. And part of that settlement means that Yuzu is going to cease all its development. The Patreon is closing, the GitHub is closing. And I believe what's happened as well is that all of the developers are no longer able to actually work on other emulators. And as kind of collateral damage, unfortunately, the 3DS emulator Citra has also been shut down as well. So, that's a real shame because Citra is one of the best emulators on the Apple Silicon Mac. I recently did a whole series of videos. I just published my tutorial video on how to get Citra working on the Apple Silicon Mac, which is now completely out of date as well. Today I just thought it would be a bit fun to commiserate these great emulator teams and play a few of the greats. We have of course we have RyuJinx, so we never got Yuzu working on the Apple Silicon Mac, I'm afraid. Yuzu was actually slated to have a native ARM release at some point in the future. It was in the timeline, but unfortunately we never managed to get that, and it'll probably never happen unless some kind of fork happens, which is a real shame. Let's see here. So just let me know in the chat if the audio levels are all right. Say something in the chat because it's a bit unusual to have such little chatter. But yeah, basically, it's really sad to see that all this hard work has kind of gone to waste. All of these the repos are down. Yuzu in its current form is never gonna become a reality. And we are fortunate that we still have RyuJinx, of course. So this is a fantastic Nintendo Switch emulator that works great on the Apple Silicon Mac. And RyuJinx, as far as I can tell, hasn't been affected. I did go on their Discord earlier today, and basically they're trying to ban all mention of Yuzu, of course, because it's like dominating that Discord at the moment. And thanks, Sazna, for confirming that sound and visuals are good. Normally when I do live streams, there are some technical issues, but today, hopefully I'm experienced enough to try to avoid any actual issues. But yeah, I just really thought it would be fun to have a look at some games. So I've got Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which works great on RyuJinx. Playing this on my M3 Max. As far as I can tell, RyuJinx haven't committed the same kinds of sins that Yuzu has. So Yuzu is a bigger emulator, I'd say, bigger community, and I think that what people are identifying is the fact that Yuzu made use of like a leaked copy of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in order to develop features for the Yuzu emulator, and I think that might have something. That's the rumor, that this is something that has caused them to come under the sights of Nintendo and their lawyers and their huge law firm, law teams, etc. So I think that's probably the main reason. And Citra is just because a lot of these Nintendo emulators, they share teams, and a lot of people who worked on Yuzu also worked on Citra. So Citra, if we go to the GitHub for Citra, it's just completely down now. So it's just gone. Page not found. So of course with Yuzu we didn't have a Mac version, but with Citra we do have a Mac version. I was fortunate enough to be supplied the latest version by a user called Revod, who reached out to me after I posted about it on Twitter, on X, sorry. And I do have the last Citra build here. There's a link in the Apple Gaming Wiki Discord. This, of course, is another native ARM emulator. You know, it's a real shame because the 3DS store anyway is down. The eShop is down for 3DS. There are no new 3DS games anymore, and the only way to play these games is through emulation. That's how game preservation works. So it's really sad that basically Citra is this collateral damage because you know, they recently added a Vulkan renderer. They make use of Molten VK. It's a native ARM emulator. You know, a lot of things going for it. And if you wanted to play Pokemon X on a Mac, this is the way to do it. Works really well. But yeah, Jamborino, mad that Nintendo put their efforts on this instead of announcing new hardware, showing good faith in the community that pays stupid prices for their games and so much more. I think that Nintendo don't care, unfortunately, about these community projects. They'd much rather preserve the hardware sales, the software sales. But obviously, these communities are really big now. These emulation communities. I remember Yuzu as well on the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck was using you know, promotional images featuring featuring Yuzu back in the day when the Steam Deck first came out. I think it was on like Valve branding time. Somebody saw it in a promotional image, in a promotional video on the official Steam Deck stuff. So you know, over the last few years, it's really kind of built up in terms of mind share, and you know, it does result. I mean, these emulators, the fact that they exist, even though they don't necessarily use or distribute any kind of copyrighted material, they still, I think they facilitate piracy, right? So I don't think it's a huge amount because most people who buy these who emulate games, I don't think they're genuine sales, but there are a very small percentage, probably like 10% or something like that, might have bought the game genuinely rather than trying to emulate it in the first place. But who knows? So yeah, it's really sad. Cessna 3DS has such a huge, fantastic library. So I mean, the good thing is that we still have we can still get the latest version, which is very functional on the Mac and on all the other platforms too, Android, Windows, etc. But basically, it's sad to see that this probably will never get a full metal renderer, which was, you know, in the pipeline, and it'll cease development. And you know, we've had some good development over time for like, you know, these the like Citra had graphical issues, I remember, like a year ago, but now it's like basically fixed. Trippin finished downloading all emulators are stored on my external hard drive. What a sad emulation day. The good thing about these emulators is that they are on GitHub. They get forked a lot. So if you look at the user subreddit, there's a lot of forks, you know, that are happening. So you can still, the latest version is there. It's just that, you know, it just won't get future support. Are there any alternatives to emulate 3DS games on the Mac? Yeah. Citra is the only method. It's still the best method. I don't think Citra's necessarily going away, not like forever and ever. You know, another team could pick this up. If the team is, you know, based outside of US jurisdiction, then in theory it could go on forever. If the, you know, this is a legal thing, right? If the arm of the US legal team can't reach in some random country, somewhere in the world, then, you know, maybe someone else will pick up development. But these emulation devs, right, they're few and far between, mostly based in America or Europe. So I don't really see much hope of this getting like substantial kind of development, especially considering that, you know, Nintendo is so litigious. And I think that this Yuzu lawsuit has really scared them, right? In order for them to like agree to a $2.4 million lawsuit when the Patreon only makes like what, $30,000 a month. So, you know, there's calculation. This settlement is more than all of the Patreon funds put together historically, even if we counted like 30K a month. Matthias, the problem is much deeper. The method to decrypt games is considered illegal, so RyuJinx will probably be next. Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact legality of it, but as far as I'm aware, RyuJinx, I think the main issue is that with Yuzu was the fact that they used Tears of the Kingdom leak in order to develop features for Yuzu. I think that's part of the problem. Everyone else, all the other emulators like Citra and RyuJinx and RPCS3, all of this stuff is basically, it's sorry, I've lost my train of thought. I'm reading the chat. Tribun says, Andrew, you should change your shortcut start for Windows and remove the maintenance tool because we don't know if the team is releasing an update, so the program won't work properly anymore. Shortcut start. Explain what you mean. Mac Pro tips. Andrew is holding back tears right now. It is kind of sad. I feel really bad for these devs. They put so much work into it, and they are being compensated in some way. But to see a community work together so hard to put so much stuff together, and then have that all ripped apart by legal threats, it's sad. 2.4 million yen? No, not 2.4 million US dollars. But if Yuzu refused to develop until the game released, while RyuJinx blatantly updated, I think Nintendo wants to shut it down before the next Switch comes out. Maybe, yeah. CPU core. So this is the 40 CPU, 40? Yeah. 10 CPU core, 40 GPUs, 48 gigabytes of RAM, and 3 Max. Yuzu was available on Steam OS. That's probably the reason why I got so much heat coming the way. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Well, I've got my DualSense controller here. Let's do some light emulation, I'd say. So I'll play a little bit of Nintendo Switch on the Mac while we still can, because this is not forever. Okay, so let me know how the sound levels of the game is, because I don't want it too loud. I want to be able to talk. And can you guys hear it? Okay. So yeah, compilations. So this is so another thing about RyuJinx is the fact that we don't have shader sharing anymore. So I'm running this from scratch because my previous shader cache, I had to delete it. Because RyuJinx kept crashing because I don't know, something with the old profile. So I just nuked it and then got it started again. It's a little bit stuttery at the moment, but of course, once you actually cache the shaders, it actually works fine. So let me just full screen this actually. Make it big. Okay. Yeah, Yuzu was available on Steam OS. Was it? I wasn't aware of that. I mean, it works on Linux, right? That's why it got so much heat. Well, Valve used it in a promotional video, so that's one thing. I've seen Routine the game, Oscar PM says, apparently coming out on Mac. Routine, I've not heard of that. Is my channel at risk? No. I'm just playing a game on a Mac. I'm not aware of this being an issue. I think it might be an issue if I was distributing copies of Yuzu, but I'm not, so that's okay. And Citra as well. I'm not distributing Citra either, so it should be okay. Can we talk about how Sonoma looks like iPad OS? Yes, they really, ever since what was it, Ventura, they've been really changing the settings menu, changing all the interface elements. It's very kind of iPad-y. It's unified. Okay, so I just upgraded and it felt really weird. I like macOS Sonoma. I know every year brings something new to the Mac. So generally speaking, I think it looks pretty good. We've had Big Sur, Monterey, Ventura, and now Sonoma for the Apple Silicon lineup, and I quite like it. I quite like how it's developed. It's a new color scheme. You can kind of tell straight away if a Mac has been updated or not properly. It's quite nice to see. Okay. AAG24. I never found out how to get the game cards onto my Mac. So you need a jailbroken Switch to do that. You need to get a cartridge, a jailbroken Switch. There's also a new method now called the MIG Switch, which is like a cartridge loader thing, which you can use to decrypt cartridges. But basically, yeah, if you needed like a Gen 1 Switch, which I do have, and you need the genuine game, and then you need to decrypt it. So that's the simplest way. There's also like there's other methods too. The mix switch thing allows you to decrypt the card using this like USB-C hardware, which is cool. I haven't tried it myself because I've already got a jailbroken and switch, but yeah, it's cool to see that it's working. I've also got a new camera setup too, so I've put a new webcam here right in front of the Mac. So I like to have this showing so you can actually see that I'm genuinely playing this on a Mac. If the metal HUD in the top right hand corner didn't show you as well, but yeah, that's good. Do you think they will continue with the desktop Mac Pro tower and rack? I don't know about the desktop Mac Pro. The Mac Pro, which is the same design as the Intel Mac Pro from before, is like a really weird anomaly. It's got all these like PCIe card slots, which are basically completely useless, and you can't put a graphics card in there. You can't put you can put like audio capture cards or some stuff, but that's about it really. Game's a bit stuttery just because we don't have the shader cache yet, but once it's generated, we should be fine. I had to delete my old cache from earlier. Let's just start from scratch. It's such a cute game. It's ridiculously cute, this game. I think this elephant guy power-up's really fun. Favorite stream ever. Okay. Have you tried Sons of the Forest on crossover? I remember making a tutorial about it ages ago. I mean, I didn't really play it properly. I just kind of downloaded it, made sure it worked. It worked. I think it was the early access version that worked fine. Yeah. Do you think the Yuzu Tropic Haze settling out of court is good so there won't be any legal precedents, meaning Nintendo can't cite its case against Yuzu if it ever decided to attack other emulators like RyuJinx? I mean, settling out of court is still bad because I know there's no like legal precedent, right? But it does mean that you know, emulation teams are just hobbyists, right? And Yuzu was basically the biggest, so other teams will just be discouraged from touching Nintendo emulation. And you know, $2.4 million is a big price to pay for a small team, right? A small company, basically. So yeah, it doesn't cause us doesn't create a legal a legal case to be cited in the future, but it's just as bad because, you know, when the Switch 2 comes out, people are going to think twice before, you know, thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to make a Switch 2 emulator, which is, you know, it could be very closely based on the Switch 1, and basically that's just as bad because it just means people will just go, oh, I'm not working on this. I'd rather, you know, spend my time working on something that's going to make money and not going to make me go bankrupt or put me in jail, or, you know, have to spend $10 million on defending something that can only make a few $100K a year. You know, it's just as bad. Just as bad. Yeah, I won't complain much. At least it's not like Windows where they get minor changes and inconsistency. So I'm talking about Windows UI. I think the Mac operating system does change too often. I mean, we're conditioned now to get updates every single year, and they're not that substantial. These updates, they're just kind of like, sometimes they just update things just for the sake of it. Get a new background, get a new whatever. Yeah. In your opinion, is Yuzu or RyuJinx better on Mac at the moment? Well, Yuzu doesn't exist on Mac. There are builds that people have created in the past, but very limited compatibility, especially nothing like this. This is RyuJinx, right? And you know, this is far better than the current hacked together version of Yuzu. But Yuzu was supposed to come out on Mac eventually, but obviously never going to happen now. Hello Andrew, can the next live stream be about FSR 3 mod for Horizon Zero Dawn and the other games you mentioned? Yeah, that's on the agenda. I haven't managed to do it yet, but I will do at some point. It's kind of a bit boring because I've already done an FSR3 video and I've done the FSR3 mod, but live stream already, which I spent 4 hours trying to get that thing to work. It's a little bit stuttery, but pretty smooth actually. Now that we've cached shaders for this level, do like a good Mario game. I like to try this on my actual Switch, play it 4-player on the big TV. Yeah. Is this a nose or what is it on the elephant? Oh, I am in the background. I thought I was going to go somewhere else. They do a lot of clever things with the new Super Mario Brothers formula for this game. RyuJinx is really made not to promote piracy. I think it'd be hard for them to ban that emulator. Well, they ban Yuzu, so you know all they've got to do is figure out a way to catch RyuJinx out. But you know, once people really, you know, this only just happened, right? But once people fully understand the legal reasoning why Yuzu was then unable to defend itself or to stand a chance against the Nintendo, the Nintendo lawsuit, then I think people will be a bit more careful about exactly what they're doing. This is funny. I'll turn up a bit. Who? Okay. Ooh. Yeah, these guys are singing, but they're still dangerous. The seed. I think it's bad saying Nintendo would have gotten legal precedent is assuming Nintendo was in legal right. I think Nintendo may have lost. Yeah, they may have lost, but we'll never really know because I don't think anyone's ever going to challenge it. Because you know, it's not just about winning; it's about surviving to win. You need to pay the lawyers, and you know, lawsuits are expensive, especially against giant corporations with billions of dollars. Let me see. Is there any way to hint to download games? It's very easy to figure out how to download games. Yuzu worked on Asahi Linux. I tested RyuJinx on Asahi Linux, that works good. Shanine, welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the stream. Clumsy, do you think Nintendo could come for crossover or other emulators? No. Crossover's got nothing to do with this at all, I'm afraid. Andrew, where can we find shaders since Ryu's tech no longer works? Oh yeah, I was talking about shaders before, wasn't I? I got distracted. Basically, you can't. You just got to generate them yourself and then share them. There's another problem with this thing is like people don't want to share shaders because they're technically copyrighted material. Because a shader is composed of, you know, parts of the graphics that compose a game. So people don't want to distribute them. And then you have a game like Super Mario Wonder, which is kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for Ryu's hack. Ah, come back, you. Oh, it's just killed. Can I go down here? Oh, I can. Just gotta focus on this, gotta kill this thing. What is this? Like a hamster? How do I get this? Oh, I'm supposed to jump on the thing that he shoots. I bet. Okay, messed that one up. Okay, is there any legal? Oh, okay, let me see. Nintendo's argument for Yuzu is strengthened by Yuzu making a lot of money helping people pirate on the Discord. Yeah. I'm never going to show you how to download games, pirate games, on YouTube, because it's just, it's dangerous for content creators, because I can get a DMCA, a Digital Millennium Copyright Strike, and that's like a death blow for a YouTube channel. Oh, so I can jump on these. There you go. Okay, good. Big again. Okay. Is there any legal explanation for shutting down Citra? I think it's just, you know, 3DS not live service. Yeah. Ooh, died. How do I get past this guy if I can't? Oh, I need a red shell. Oh yeah, the game taught me with that. I need a red shell. Open this up. Oh, oh. Oh, that got my thing. Yeah. Does Nintendo plan to give us 3DS games with a virtual console? I don't think so. It's kind of pointless having 3DS games these days because they're very different in terms of graphical quality compared to a Nintendo Switch game. There's so much joy in this game. Come on, come back. Oh. Got the seed. Thing is, like, I know that 3DS games aren't generally available, so the eShop is down, everything is down, okay? But I think there's a concept of you know, of customers. You don't want to give your customers a free pass, right? Because then they won't consume. Oh god, I died right before the end of that level. Whoops. Yeah, you don't want to give your customers like a free pass unless you have to, right? Like for example, right? Let's say you're a restaurant, okay, and yeah, you don't want to give your customers free things or allow them to access free versions of things because it harms your bottom line overall, okay? So if you think about it, right, for example, okay, let's say you have a restaurant, okay, and you have a bunch of food that's about to expire, right? Let's say like you have like a day-old bread or something, right? You can't sell it, okay? You can't sell it. You know, you can't do anything with it. So you think, oh well, and the customer thinks, you know, you should just give it away for free, right? Just give it away for free. But the problem with that is that the customer, if they receive a free loaf of bread or something, then they're not going to buy the fresh bread, right? Or they're not going to buy, you know, whatever expensive thing that they're trying to sell, you know, as a main meal or something. They're going to buy a stew because they just got free bread, right? Free old bread or something like that. Well, it doesn't have to be bread. It could be any other thing. So I understand, like, yeah, 3DS games aren't being sold anymore, but you know, if somebody got like a free, you know, Pokemon X or something like that, then they might not necessarily want to spend $60 on Pokemon Scarlet or whatever Pokemon game comes out in the future. I know that emulation is not necessarily you know, emulation is not necessarily gonna harm, you know, especially when it's like abandoned games like 3DS games. You can't buy them anymore, so it doesn't really hurt Nintendo, but it does hurt a little bit, right? And it sets a bad precedent because if Nintendo allows these emulators to just continue thriving, and the piracy scene just continues growing, then it could be a problem. Okay. RyuJinx is safer because they have a lot safer about discouraging piracy and not taking big Patreon. Well, the RyuJinx Patreon is still pretty big. I won't say it's small in any shape or form. Like the RyuJinx, let me see, RyuJinx Patreon is still huge, isn't it? Like 5, it's not like 5. Okay, well, it's a lot smaller, but it's still money. It's still profiting from what Nintendo would consider piracy. Right? Do you have to jump through hoops to get RyuJinx working, or is setup is really easy? I did an updated tutorial on my second channel. I should probably put that in the description of this video later. I will put this in the description of the video later. Just type in Andrew Tsai RyuJinx tutorial. I made a new one like 2 days ago, so it's very straightforward to do. Nintendo's argument for Yuzu is strengthened by Yuzu's... Okay, I read that one already. Yuzu and Citra kind of had it coming with its early access builds being behind a paywall. I wasn't aware that Citra did early access builds behind a paywall. Yeah. I haven't really paid attention to these like Patreons, but yeah, it is not a good look, selling, because if you sell early access to emulator, you're basically selling the emulator. Bowser. Do you know the technical reasons why you need the cache shaders and emulators but not one playing natively on the Switch? Well, the Switch will just have the shaders included in the game, right? Whereas the Switch game has never interacted with Molten VK or the Apple GPU, so it needs to generate those shaders from scratch. Or if they were shared, then they because all Apple Silicon Macs are the same. So using something like RyuZinx, we could have got shared shaders there. It's pretty, if somebody set up a shader sharing service, it's pretty straightforward. But legally, you're not in a good position because technically they are composed of copyrighted material. So the game generates the shader, and I suppose in theory you could decompile the shader and then get graphics out of the out of those shaders. So it's something that's in very high demand. I can understand why the RyuZinx dev was saying, like, on the day that this game came out, was like Tears of the King. Yeah, I think it was this game, right? Shaders being he was running up this hosting bill of like $250 a month, and that was just like the beginning, like in a week. It's pretty bad. It's a big project for one person to take care of, with not a lot of profit, because I don't think the guy had ads on it or anything like that. But it's it's kind of there's very little reward and a lot of potential risk. Yeah, and a lot of like very thankless people. The emulation scene is a bit toxic. A lot of people like want stuff for nothing, and they get really annoyed. I can see why people like Talreth from Ether-SX2, they just gave up, right? So yeah, it's a thankless task, and somebody could easily do it. All they've got to do is develop an interface or just host the shader files, but that is a whole risk in itself. This complicated matter would have cost more than $2 million to defend. Yeah, I think we cannot underestimate the cost of lawyers. One of these lawyers, $400 an hour, $500 an hour, and in a team, working weeks, months to develop a defense, and for what gain? What's the point of defending it? What are you going to gain out of it? I mean, it would have been nice to think that the emulation community is big enough to create some kind of big fundraiser or something, like trying to get this whole thing quashed properly. But there wasn't really much opportunity for that. I don't think that the community is big enough to actually sustain something like that. big purple things are funny. I haven't played this far in the game. I mean, I've done a lot of testing, but to be honest, I haven't really tested this properly. That's funny, you don't... Oh, you can roll... Okay, that makes sense. Roll on to the baddies. Well, this game has so much joy in it, it's ridiculous. Okay, halfway point, come back to chat. And Andrew, I'm not happy about the news. Dante Snake. Yeah, I'm not happy. I think it's just, I mean, like, I know that these emulators are just going to continue existing in its current form, so in its current unupdated form, and they work really well, right? I'm more concerned about, I think, not the morals, the morale of the emulation scene, because I think that this is a huge blow, not because it's, you know, of the legal aspect of it, but more like it will just discourage emulation in general. People will just people will just write emulators less. What's happening here? There'll be fewer people willing to like give up their time and money and effort in order to develop something which could get them in a lot of trouble. Yeah, I think it's just sad overall. So what do you think about the M3 Air? So I've ordered an M3 Air for content, you know. I've got the, on Friday I'll be getting the 8 GPU core, 8 gigabytes of RAM version of the M3 Air. It's very likely I'm going to return it afterwards because I've already done videos on the M3 Pro, sorry, the MacBook Pro with the M3 base chip inside it. So the M3, yeah, the MacBook Pro with the M3 has 10 GPU cores, and the one I'm testing is going to be 8 GPU cores. But of course, you know, the main issue about the MacBook Air, the new one, is the fact that we only have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it's being sold for $1,099, right? Which is crazy because they still haven't updated this base spec. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to do it, especially considering that the MacBook Pro doesn't still on 8 gigabytes of RAM. But you know, at some point it's going to be unacceptable, and we're very close to that point. If the M4 Air came out with 8 gigabytes of RAM, I think that would be crazy.
Love that sound.
Yeah. So let me just see. I think I'm not getting all of the chat in here. Let me just see. How many? Oh, simply so. How many of the laptop's computers do you actually keep after testing? I only have the M1 Max. Like I've got the M3 Max, which I purchased. Even though I did return my M3 Max, I bought one afterwards anyway, for fun. And then there's also the. Let me think. Let me just refresh this because I can't see my chat. My chat doesn't update properly on OBS. Yeah. So basically, I've got my M3 Max, which is this MacBook Pro here. I've got my M1 Max, which I'm planning to sell at some point, and I've got the M1 MacBook Air and the M2 MacBook Air. So of course, the M1 MacBook Air has been discontinued today as well. You can't buy the M1 anymore, which is a real shame because that's the greatest of all time. That's what started this YouTube channel, and was the most affordable MacBook you could buy for quite a long time. Well, I've missed out lots of bits of the stream, the chat. You need to use the thing he's throwing. Yeah, I missed out lots of the chat. My OBS chat doesn't. Oh, I should read the on-screen chat instead. It'd be easier. But let me see. Whether the use of dump keys from Switch is prohibited and follow copyright. So anyway, the dump keys. Well, you have to supply your own keys for RyuJinx. And what's happening here? So I don't see how we'd fall under the same issue.
That was stressful.
That was stressful. How do I get underneath? Wait for a moment. Okay, let's go. Whoa, 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 balls. It's infinite ammo. Silly boy. Okay. So yeah, Johnny C, if this can get the account in trouble, now this not, I'm not worried about this because I've showed loads of Nintendo emulation over time. The worst I'm going to get is like a strike of some kind, which is unlikely because people don't get strikes for emulating Nintendo games unless it's some kind of like leaked big budget release. Like I was aware of the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom leak at the time, and I was very, very conscious not to make any content unless it was after the release of Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, let's see here. Isn't the secondhand market as bad as piracy for game sellers? Yeah, I suppose it is. Nintendo don't see any money from the sale of secondhand games. The thing about piracy is that it's such a digital piracy, especially. It's just the fact that it's kind of infinite. You could, you know, it's hard to quantify how much money you lose. When the fact is that, you know, that oh, I see. Your game could be, you know, downloaded 1 million times, and it's hard to know exactly what that means. What the hell is that? What the hell? This game's so trippy. But 45 seconds now. What did I do wrong? Is this a mushroom? Yeah, it is oh, in the Mushroom Kingdom. So I need to get this guy to come here. He's gonna go and demolish. No, we can jump that way. Come this way. Oh, it's not supposed to hit me. Go in. Let's catch our chat. People just want to play the games on better hardware than the Switch, and they already own the game. Yeah. I mean, argument's a little bit less good for this game because this works at 60 frames per second at 1080p on the Switch, and we're running about the same settings on the M3 Max. But a lot of other games like Tears of the Kingdom can work better on high-end hardware. So, yeah. On the top right, you have a RAM indicator tool. So this thing on the top right, just gonna move my mouse. Yeah. This thing on the top right is called the Metal HUD. If you look for a tutorial online, you will find the Metal HUD. People always ask me this, but yeah. Vim's Lair. So that's a website. And basically, I have no idea where Vim's Lair is hosted, but they do sometimes respect copyright takedowns. So I think the Vim's Lair had a game which they were asked to take down, and they did so. They need to GoFundMe for lawyer fees and have gaming YouTubers spread the message about it. Poke. So the thing about this is that I think we all underestimate the amount of money that's involved. It will be more than like the biggest gaming Kickstarter ever. You know, you need like 10 million, like 10 million. Hold Y and move to dash. Dash to get to the Wonder Seed.
Go, go, go!
How do you do this?
Go, go, go!
Run! Oh, we did it. Okay. Go back and get that coin block. So I'm not really playing this game very seriously, so don't worry. New sub. Okay, thanks for joining me. Apple does not slow down laptops or phones other than for battery life reasons. Okay. Hello, Andrew. Did you try the Citra installer that I sent? It worked? Yes, I have tried it. Now, are you the guy who sent it? So that is Revod. Okay, thank you very much for sending me that if you are Revod. I guess what I would need is what is a good 3DS game to play? Like I've got a few here in and which I might switch to later. I've got a few here. I finished Bravely Default on my 3DS. I do like that game as an okay JRPG. Ocarina of Time, Pokemon X. This is what I got right now, but I can easily acquire another game. So let me know in the chat what 3DS game should I play next. Okay, is that'd be quite fun to do. Rem Black. The software may get more demanding over time, but that is not necessarily intentionally slowing it down. Okay. The thing about Apple updates is that, you know, whether they slow things down or I've never seen conclusive evidence for Macs anyway. They do get more demanding. What's this? Why would I buy a Wonder Seed? What's the Wonder Seed for? Got plenty of lives. Okay, I'll buy it. What? They're stickers. One-up mushrooms. What does a Wonder Seed do? Let's buy one. Okay, good. Is it Yuzu the emulating software being sued by Nintendo? Yeah, Yuzu's the one. Do you really think Nintendo's going to take you down? No, I don't think so. It's just a funny title that I had for the stream. But I think there is a limited lifespan on high-end Nintendo emulation. So big question mark about whether RyuJinx, which is the one I'm using today, is actually going to get taken down. Are they guilty of the same or similar things that Yuzu is? Is it just the fact that RyuJinx is a smaller community? The fact that they didn't get targeted, or is Nintendo going on a rampage, or are they? Is there some technicality which I discussed already in the stream that Yuzu has, which has committed, which RyuJinx hasn't, being a more prudent team? I don't know. Don't know. New Super Mario Bros. 2 if you want a Mario game. I think I might have something, maybe not a Mario game. That might be good. Don't know. What are these skating things? What the hell? What is that? Oh, it came out of the thing. Yes, I've got. What was that? Yeah, I want to play maybe not a Mario game, because this is a good Mario game, which I don't need more. I didn't need more Mario in my life. What is this handle? Quite clever. Is there a thing we can get up here? No. It's always quite inventive. I really like Mario. I like Mario games because the platforming feels really solid, and especially the new games, everything feels very solid and chunky. Ah, that was my fault. Okay, yeah. So I could place a bit of Pokemon X, Fire Emblem. Any news about getting Palworld working on the mod? Yeah, I haven't got it working yet, I'm afraid. Still got that error message. I think other people have experienced the same thing. So if anyone figures it out, please let me know. 3D Land. Citra is for Nintendo 3DS. Yeah. I would like to do some Citra because, you know, in terms of like what we are missing now from the Mac ecosystem, yeah, Citra is the thing we're missing. So I might switch over in a minute. If I get any good game suggestions, then I'll acquire it. Metroid Samus Returns. Is that a good game? Super Mario World will always be my favorite. Okay. Maybe I think I'm gonna have a look at Samus Returns because I've never played that game. I never really played Metroid games before. I played a bit of Metroid Dread, I guess. Let me just I'm just on my other computer, and then let's try this out. That's the plan. Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about using the title emulating Ernesto. Oh, my daughter's up. Ooh. Just a moment, guys. Just my daughter's just woken up. Well, my daughter keeps waking up in the middle of the night. It is like 11:30, and she is only 6 years old. So okay, good thing I didn't die. Okay, I am downloading. I mean, I'm decrypting. No, I'm not downloading a game. Let's have a look. Yeah, that'll be a few minutes for that to go. Where can one acquire the installer, says Johnny C. I've tried the app. My Mac can run RyuJinx PPSSPP, EcoSX2, RPCS3 and Dolphin. Yeah, there's copies floating around the internet, that's what I'll say. Ooh. That's cool. So, this is such a trippy game. What is this? Oh.
This is wonderful.
Hidden platform.
This is wonderful. So
Go
shiny.
this way. Oh. This is a trippy game. Oh. So there's these 4. So I have to pick up 5 these flower things. Oh, the Wonder Seed is up there. Okay. Oh, oh. Good. Got it, Wonder Seed. The new Samus game is bad. Okay, is that the game that the 3DS game? Or are you talking about? Metroid? Metroid Dread on the Switch. Which one? Which game are you talking about? Ugh. Let's see what we're doing here. Samus returns, 2 more minutes. Is there a good Mac Gaming Discord? Well, I really highly recommend my Discord, which is the Apple Gaming Wiki Discord. There's a link in the description for an invite for that one. Do you think I can play this game on an M1 Mac? Yes, you can. I tested this through RyuJinx on a Mac. You can definitely do it through a Mac, through the M1. Even the base M1 with only 8 GB of RAM works fine. It only uses like about 5 GB of RAM, so it's fine. Is there a way how you can play Ratchet and Clank Rift apart from MacBook M3 Pro? What platform is Ratchet and Clank Rift on? Is it PlayStation 2 game?
Float while in midair. Float while in
Oops. Tried a few games on my MacBook Air. Anasto's 16 GB, 8 cores. It's running pretty good. 60 FPS. There are other heavy power, but that should be fine. Kirby is another one. Yeah.
Go for it.
If you have more RAM, better. Like here, you can see I'm using 9 GB at the moment. So if you only have 8 GB, you're going to be a bit limited. I thought it only uses 5. Yeah, we're probably talking about a bit more.
Float while in midair.
As the levels get more complicated, like here, then we're using more and more RAM. So over 9 GB, that means we're going to go into swap space with the SSD, which basically means that the game is going to perform really badly. Oh no. I tried a few games on my MacBook. Kirby is another one that runs pretty smooth. In your Discord, is there a list of games that are compatible with the M1 Mac? Well, on the Apple Gaming Wiki website, there is a list of games which are compatible with the M1 Mac. So yes, is the answer. Or you can watch a lot of my videos. I try to demonstrate the best games that do work, wherever possible. You know? Okay. Let's switch game now because I need to just keep this. I'm getting slightly bored of Super Mario Wonder. So I'm going to switch over to 3DS in a minute. It's a platform on PS5, but there's actually a Windows version on Steam. Oh yeah, Ratchet and Clank. That is not working at the moment because of AVX. So that's like a CPU thing that Rosetta 2 does not work with. So we can't get that working at the moment, I'm afraid. Just like we can't play Last of Us yet. So unfortunately, not going to happen until we get some kind of PS5 emulator, which is probably like a decade away from that at the moment. Okay, let's look at another game. So closing the Nintendo Switch emulation. And you know, this is the real thing that we're missing out on. The Citra nightly build is, you know, something that we are going to miss. This is, of course, the native ARM Mac build of Citra, probably the latest version that's ever going to exist. And yeah, it's kind of sad. Very sad. So let's see. I'm going to put Citra. Open it again. And we have Samus Returns. Okay, so I've never heard of this game before, to be honest. But let's give it a go. I'd like to try something new because I've done so much testing on Pokemon X and all the other games. It seems kind of boring. Okay, let's stick up my OBS feed. Should I do it like this, or should I do side by side? That kind of screws quite a lot of stuff. Let's do hybrid. Hybrid's quite good for streaming because the little face is not in the way. Let's see. did this swap screens, so the I like hybrid. Hybrid's good for this. And then if I swap the screens here, then we can kind of get a good view of this. I might change it later. Okay, good. I've never really played much Metroid games. Samus Returns to Metroid game, right? Is it 3D, 2D? It must be 2D, right? Skip. Yeah, your chat can't. I've got my chat window obscuring this anyway, so it won't help. You guys now can't read it. These games are fantastic on M1 16512. I can play all these games native. Res at 60, VSync on, VSync off, and the frame rate is all over the place. It makes the game speed way too much. These, you know, Tears of the Kingdom, even on like a really fast PC, the highest level graphics card, it's not perfect. So I wouldn't expect the Mac version to be perfect either. So Windows release of Ratchet & Clank. I mean, probably the best way to play is just do streaming. With the story or something like that. Okay. So a list of games that work on the MacBook Air M2. Yeah, I think so. Okay, they're looking a little bit blocky, aren't they? Let's see. What is our graphics? Ugh, ugly native. Let's do 4 times. Ooh, that's looking better. It's 4 times the way to go. 4 times normally what I do. 4 times. It's got filtering. And let's see, 4 times. 5. Yeah. Okay, let's play. Yeah, it's a bit like Metroid Dread. Is this like that? I don't know. Is this the game? Okay. I want Metroid Dread. So L to lock. Block, and then I'm supposed to get up here. Oh, terrible. What's happening here? I'm gonna look at space. I haven't played much Metroid, but this plays, if I recall correctly, it's very similarly to Metroid Dread. They have to hit these with missiles. It's okay, there will be a Switch port in the summer. What game is that? Luigi's Mansion 2 runs terribly for me in Citra. I don't know why I can only play native resolution, but as soon as I scale it up, it starts being unplayable. Is that just on Mac? Oh, what happened here? My webcam just turned around. Let's switch it back. Ooh, you can see a whole view of my office. I don't know why I just did that. I just installed a new OBS bot webcam, and it can move. It's great. Is this Nintendo Switch game? No, this is a 3DS game. But this is one of the games which is well, it's one of the emulators which has now been taken down. Now, not because of a legal threat, not directly because of a legal threat, but because some of the developers of Yuzu, which has been taken down by 3 legal threats, worked on this. You know, there's a reason this isn't happening. Oh, I can shoot that. It's quite an impressive game, actually, because this, what, 2011 this came out? As a portable game? Compared this to like iPhone. I mean, in terms of gameplay, it feels quite smooth. Like, decent. Is it possible uncapped 30 FPS or is it locked at 30 FPS? I don't know. So, the game says it's 30 FPS. There must be a mod or something to fix this. 60 frames per second. No idea. Roll past. I thought Samus was famous for rolling around. Okay, good. How to get shaders on RyuJinx to work? Discussed that already. RyuJinx shaders ain't happening anytime soon. Unless somebody, picks it up as a project. Okay. Could you turn the in-game sound down a bit? It's hard to hear. I will turn it down a bit. Okay. Let me know if the voice sounds okay, because I'm not monitoring with headphones or anything. I want to try a different game now, because I don't really like these Metroidvanias that much. And I wouldn't mind playing something that is less actiony. Well, let's save the state. Ooh. That's one great thing about Citra. They introduced save states, and it works great. It'd be nice to have save states on RyuJinx. Okay, let's stop here. Taking suggestions for 3DS games, if you've got any. Let's see. Citra seems to be slowing down a bit. Manuel, and by the way, I just wanted to say thank you for your videos. Your videos help me understand so much. They are so easy to understand. And my M3 Mac is really just a nice gaming station now. Yeah, I'm glad you found them useful. I think that the Mac is, like, generally speaking, a very capable gaming machine. A lot of games do work. It's just a case of unlocking the hardware, and all these little projects like Citra, they're not going to get updated in the future, but it works really well for now. And these games are all very, very playable. Play better Pokemon X. It's easy to play. Move to my controller. Here we are. Ooh, Japanese now. Okay, let's play. Okay. Free mode. Why use these keywords though? You know they're going to take the stream down in time. No, that's not really how streaming works. They're not going to they're not going to randomly take down my stream. There are so many videos online. But I think my DualSense is conking out. I'll charge it. Okay. So it's very unlikely that they'll take down the stream. Maybe they'll copyright strike the video afterwards, maybe? Who knows? But I don't think Nintendo will actually care about me emulating 3DS games. Johnny C, I thought I was lucky to have an M1 Studio with 64 gigabytes of RAM, but good M2 laptops get way closer to its performance than I expected. Yeah, the single core CPU speeds of the Ultra are similar to the M2. So yeah. Ocarina of Time, Nintendo will hate it. I don't really like Ocarina of Time. Boy. Asian boy. Andrew. That's my name. I've played this like so many times now. God. What do you use to record this video? When I screen record with QuickTime, I notice a huge drop in FPS. So I'm using a streaming PC to stream this. So this is what controls all my webcams. I've got my HDMI cable. You can't see it, but it's on the right of this computer. And so that is what is streaming. So I don't get any loss of performance because basically the computer's HDMI is mirroring the screen. So there's no recording happening on the source computer, so that's fine. I think it'll be less confusing if I didn't do it like this. If I had I think side by side is better, and then if I think I might put the chat window. Let's move the chat window here. And then let's swap the screens. It's better. Classic. I remember buying this game on like 2011? Something a long time ago. 2012? Bought a 2DS and this in a bundle, and it cost like £99, so it was a really good deal. I'll have to change. These Pokemon games have such convoluted intros. It's like, what's the point of this? People just want to go straight into battle, but it takes like 10 minutes to get into a battle. Change my pajamas. So Aurelio says, I'm installing The Witcher 3 as a type. Can't wait to see how it goes. Witcher 3 runs great on the Mac using crossover, especially with D3D Metal turned on with crossover. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I'll be doing some testing on that, I think, when I get my M3 Air. I might do a live stream of the M3 Air, to be honest. I think it might be quite fun to do. I've never done, now that I've got this like streaming set up, then I would like to explore more kind of impromptu kind of live streams. So when I get my M3 Air on Friday, I'll probably schedule one for roughly the same time. Okay. Do you think, Clumsy says, do you think the performance boost is worth the upgrade from the M2 MacBook Air to the M3 Pro, or should I wait another year or two? M3 Pro is way better than the base M2 MacBook Air. I would say if you have the money, just upgrade. It depends what you're trying to do. But yeah, there's a very big difference between the base M2 and even like an M2 Pro. There's a huge difference. M3 Pro is a very good machine. It's only like 2 months old now, so I'll still consider buying one. But of course, if you wait another 10 months, if you wait until November, it'll probably be an M4. You know, very likely it'll be an M4 Mac. Okay, so if I remember correctly, if I go up from here, then we'll get to the table. There's like a table with some people. And then there's a battle, I think, which is the interesting part. Because you have to choose a starter. Okay, let me see. Yeah, there's a huge difference. Johnny C's right. There's a huge difference between the M1 and M2 standard chips and the M2 Plus, which are clocked. Yeah, M2 Pro, you mean? Yeah. 3DS, Smash, Resident Evil, Luigi's Mansion, Kirby, Mario Kart 7. Oh yeah, I can play Mario Kart, can I? Let me see if I can grab a Mario Kart. Mario Kart. Mario Kart 7. That's good. That's a good time. Let's see if I can find a one. Find a copy in my collection somewhere. Let's see. Just doing that on my. It's a really good idea to have 2 computers for streaming setup because it just makes things a lot easier. Have to interrupt the stream. Okay, let's. Big A. The big A. Big Andrew. Okay, back in my time. Games are much more bearable with fast forward, especially Pokemon games, and the fact that we have save states here. Okay, Chespin, Fennekin, or Froakie. Chat, choose. Which one's best? Okay. Hi, Isaac Ryu. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. RyuJinx team stressed right now, but we're powering through. Yeah, what do you guys think? From the Discord, I can see that, you know, there's I can imagine you guys are very stressed out at the moment. Is Citra pretty much complete in emulation? It works for everything that I've tested on it. Doggo, Froakie, Fennekin. I like Fennekin. Froakie. How did you tag me? I can't do it, to be honest. My 2014 MacBook Pro still runs great. Yeah. Macs do last a long time. Might get Froakie. Fennekin. Yeah, let's do I never run a Froakie before. Okay, let's do it. I've run Chespin and I've run Fennekin, but not Froakie. Okay. Pokemon nickname? No. Plain. Okay, good stuff. Got a Pokedex. I guess no Citra from it just crashes. Are you using the latest nightly? The one I'm using is 2104. Okay, come on guys, let's go. So we'll just speed this up. Is there like a fast forward key on Citra? Well, sometimes I hate these like Japanese RPG type games because they're just so slow. The games are so slow. Not fast forward. A lot of games have a fast forward key. Toggle. There's one of these ones, isn't it? Toggle. Decrease speed limit or an increase speed limit. There's a plus key and a minus key. Let me see if this works. Oh yeah, that works. Yeah, so when I press plus, I've gone to 125%. Might mess up the music though. How do I get it down again? Oh, I can just press. I'll get it 100%. I don't want to ruin the stream. Mostly trying to keep combat the rampant misinformation right now. Plan is to keep it going until we can't. Like, so far we're in the clear, Isaac Ryu says. So, I mean, the main thing, I think it's just a lot of misinformation, like you said, right? But is there... What is the main thing that Yuzu did wrong that RyuJinx is doing right, do you think? Is it just the fact that... did I do the battle already? Distracted. There's a problem with streaming. I have no idea what I'm doing. Because I'm distracted by other stuff. Shouldn't there be a battle? Did they just have a battle? Okay, go home first. This is so convoluted, these Japanese games, because it's like, I just want to go out, but they're just... In a game, you should be like playing, doing the main thing straight away, right? Within like 1 minute of the game starting. Like this should be that you should be choosing your starter and doing this as quickly as possible. And this game is like so much padding and filler, so there's like every battle, just all these animations take forever. I remember like playing Final Fantasy VII, all the summons will take forever. Ridiculous. Okay. Bubble. It's sad when support runs out and they release no updates anymore. Use allow people to pay for early access via Patreon, therefore making money from it. Not sure if RyuJinx does this though. Nothing necessarily. If there's anything that's much of a or just as much of a target, there are a few things that they singled out in the lawsuit that might have broke the camel's back, mainly the Patreon revenue. So RyuJinx also takes Patreon revenue, just at a much smaller magnitude, but it's the fact that early access builds were locked behind a Patreon wall. Does RyuJinx not do that? User also incorporated in the US. That seems like a bad idea. Is RyuJinx incorporated as an open source project? Is it owned by a company? And why is that company registered? Seems like if you're gonna be fighting these big companies, then it's a bad idea to be registered in a jurisdiction which can be touched by the US. If it was in Russia, like someone said earlier, then that would work. But then you wouldn't get any Patreon funds, but you know, you could probably take donations with Bitcoin or something. Okay, I'm just going to prepare my Mario Kart. Which did manage to get. RyuJinx has no legal entity, so it's just a loose... I mean, you know, making an LLC in the US is, yeah, not a good idea. We don't lock builds behind a paywall, so RyuJinx does not lock builds behind a paywall. User revenue stream was 30k a month. RyuJinx is about 1.5. I mean, it doesn't really matter the quantity of money that's involved necessarily. It doesn't change the quality of what's, you know, or the infringement necessarily. Just because someone's paid $5 or $5 million doesn't necessarily change things that much. But yeah, take your point though. It's a smaller target. Okay, let's find my 3DS. Okay, let's try a different game because I played this one too many times. I'll refresh this without quitting. Probably not. Refresh? No, you can't refresh. I haven't played this game for years. Oh no, I played the Nintendo DS version of this.
Mario Kart 7!
Honestly, lawsuits are so cheap for corporations like the Big N, so many devs can't fight. I'm surprised they didn't serve a cease and desist notice to every emulator everywhere. Yeah. Simply the threat of a lawsuit has a chilling effect that they rarely need to take to court. But yes, you're right that Patreon realistic had little to do with it. Yeah, as for what I understand, it's I'm probably completely wrong. It's just that it's mostly to do with the fact that early access builds of Yuzu were built using data from Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's leak. That's like a big part of it, I think. Nintendo was likely to look to set a legal precedent against emulation. If they wanted a legal precedent, then they wouldn't have accepted a settlement. Right? You know, Nintendo could throw a few $1 million at this case and then argue it fully, and then we would have a proper legal precedent. Right now, I've got nothing. Holds up surprisingly well. Is the sound okay? Is it too loud? Let me just turn down the sound a bit because I think the meters look a bit loud. Put down to 28, minus 28 decibels. Okay, good. Yeah, I remember playing the DS version of Mario Kart. And that was really good. And this, for some reason, this looks identical to me, but no, it's not possible. This is the 3DS version, not the Nintendo DS version. I used to play, I have a lot of memories of playing Nintendo, the Wii version of this game? Wii version of this? It's that university. It looks surprisingly good. I mean, this is 5 times native resolution. This looks great. Who needs Nintendo Switch versions of games? You've got 3DS. Oh, can I beat Peach? No. Second.
I did it!
Nintendo's main allegation was that Yuzu provided fixes for Tears of the Kingdom in early access builds ahead of release, which resulted in doubling in their Patreon revenue. That's not strictly true. As far as I know, no official Yuzu builds could run Tears of the Kingdom prior to release. I'm never spending another thing for the Switch for the rest of its lifespan. Yeah. I don't really understand Nintendo's arguments for this lawsuit, which I feel like when I heard about the lawsuit to begin with, I thought that they had no leg to stand on. But obviously with the settlement, with the $2.4 million settlement, that is pretty they must have taken advice from lawyers saying that this was the better option. So they must have been doing something abnormal even for an emulator. So I'm wondering if they did something wrong. Because just using Tears of the Kingdom as a basis for making changes in the early access build, is that necessarily bad? If you don't include any actual code from the game, then you're not distributing copyrighted material. So I don't really understand it. I hope maybe a proper copyright lawyer can have a look at it properly. Yuzu didn't prepare themselves for legal issues, which is a bit odd when you think they would, considering Nintendo's past of suing emulators and mods. That's what Jay Shy says. Keep having issues with RyuJinx playing Mario World. Maybe this will continue to live on through forks and other projects. The case is non-existent, says Isaac. Users settled because they just can't afford a legal battle against Nintendo. Would have lost for years and cost millions. Yeah. If they messed up, that would have been it for emulation as a whole. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a big community for emulation, and it could be crowdsourced. It could be crowdsourced, but you need millions of dollars, like 10 million at least, or something like that. I'm not sure settling is better for emulation as a whole, because it's, this Yuzu, if I'm right in thinking, the biggest emulation team at the moment, right? And all this, like I said earlier in the stream, this sets a precedent, not a legal precedent, but a precedent that Nintendo attacks, and then whatever team they're attacking will just fold straight away. Doesn't matter how much money they've got or whether the case is good or bad, they'll just fold and delete everything. So, you can imagine like the same scenario if they just served a similar lawsuit against RyuJinx, then RyuJinx would probably fold in exactly the same way. And same for Citra, same for even like SNES emulators. All of these emulators could just fold just from these lawsuits, just from the threat. Because the threat of the threat is just as bad as whether there's a case or not. So like I remember giving my kid, both my children, modded 3DSs, a 2DS and a 2DS XL, and they like it for a period when it was the only thing that they could play games on. But given the choice between playing on a DS versus like an iPad or something, they choose iPad every time. Even if the games are like objectively worse, because the iPad's way more premium device, and you can, it's a joy to switch between apps and games, and you can watch Netflix on it, and yes, there are local multiplayer games, some interesting ones on the iPad, which are just way easier to access quickly compared to an objectively better thing, which is a proper games console, a handheld games console. I think there's a whole generation of people who children who aren't going to be like iPad users. They're not really gamers anymore. Let's go back to chat. Well, so Isaac Ryu says we'll have to wait and see if Nintendo abuses that strategy in the future or not. If I was Nintendo, I would absolutely do it because it's worked so well this time. It took less than a week for them to come up with a settlement number. I wonder how that number came about. Because Nintendo didn't ask for 2.4 million. I'm assuming that they must have just, this LLC just offered it up. Nintendo absolutely wants and expects these small-time devs to settle. It's their entire intention. Anna Senpai, I just heard the Yuzu news. Good luck. Actual hello, nice Mario. How does Mario Kart 8 Deluxe run on Apple-based MacBooks? I think Mario Kart 8 works pretty well. Let's see if I can get. Do I have Mario Kart 8? If I've got Mario Kart 8, then I can compare. I forgot whether I've got it or not. Oh, okay, I've got the. Let's see if I've. Didn't get Mario Kart 8 working. Yeah, let's play this instead. Okay, I think this will be my last game of the evening. Nintendo Switch version. Let's upgrade our experience slightly. Okay, this guy. Okay, Grand Prix. Let's go fast. Let's do Mario again. So, Mario Kart 8, I think it works pretty well. I remember testing it, basically the entire catalog of games, apart from the Zelda games, works really well on the base M1 chip. Nintendo could very much hire these talented people, then they could have more old games on Switch and newer consoles. I don't think Nintendo are looking to emulate any of their games. They want to sell the games on their hardware. They don't care about having games run on a PC. They have their own ways of having a virtual console. It's a bit this is a little bit laggy at the moment, purely because of shader compilation stutter. So this is only not smooth because of a lack of compiled shaders. It should even out very soon. Oh, this is beautiful, isn't it? I wonder what version of Mario Kart is going to come out for the Switch 2. Like, are they going to just keep updating? Because this game is already so great, right? Are they going to make it Mario Kart 9, or are they going to do what they did for the Wii U and then the Switch, and then just call it, Mario Kart 8, and then this is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? Is that it? Or are they going to make a whole new version of Mario Kart? It's been years since we've had a proper new release. Because I remember playing this level on the Wii U years ago. Okay. Okay, still stuttery, but 60 FPS, and then it stutters down to like 45. There's a big pause. But as we go through this particular map, this is gonna work even better. Ooh, getting destroyed here. Okay, let's go. Oh, I'm meant to be in first place. Get out of the way. Oh. Ah. Oh. Okay, still got second place. Okay. Honestly, is Nintendo even that trigger happy on lawsuits? So far, they've only taken action on Dolphin getting barred from the Steam store and Yuzu getting shut down. I mean, Dolphin's a good target for them to make a console that is actually decently powered and it won't be emulated for a long time, says Motion Daniel. #JPN. Other popular Nintendo console emus such as Cemu, which have just as much funding as Yuzu, Dolphin, and even Citra, have had no issues. KA Ultra. A lot of the games of PlayStation and Xbox are available on PC. The thing about the Mac is that no one really releases games on the Mac, so to get a decent library, we have to emulate. And you know, having no Yuzu coming to Mac, having no Citra is a big blow. I don't know if I'll get around to finishing Metal Back End. Isaac Ryu says, which Metal Back End of which emulator were you working on? Hi, Henrico. Who's Henrico? I love your work. Henrico Magnifico. Are you famous? Yeah. Are you playing online? No, I'm not playing online. Well, that'd be quite surprising if I could play online. Oh god, the stream is hilarious. You rock, Andrew. Thank you. We're getting Hoyoverse games on the Mac soon. Yes. I've been watching out for the Honkai Impact, third Impact Mac release. I assumed it was going to come out when Honkai Third Impact Part 2 was going to get released, but have not heard anything. Now, what is the deal with Honkai Third Impact? And is this, as a person in my teens, I watched Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion quite a lot. And this is just like a rip-off. Like the title is meant to allude to Neon Genesis. Is that right? Anyway, it's interesting to see that these games are coming out on Mac, and Hoyoverse games. It just kind of means that is Honkai Star Rail going to come out on the Mac, and is Genshin Impact, the big one, is that going to come out on Mac as well in the future? They all have Apple Silicon type ports already, so putting them on macOS seems pretty trivial. And I know that it's an extremely high demand, so hopefully that will happen, and I'll get to test it out and get to live stream some gacha Hoyoverse games. That should be quite fun. Okay. I'm not sure I really rate Mario Kart as a good single player experience. I think for me, I've always had very fond memories of playing Mario Kart at university with lots of people in the room, and the mechanics of it make it a great party game. Like the fact that if you're at the back, then you get the best weapons, and if you're at the front, you never know if you're going to stay at the front or you're going to get annihilated by a random weapon right at the very end. Single player, nah. Wouldn't it be better to play some other racing game? We are first? Yes. Good job. Citra is still on RetroArch as a core. Impact third isn't so exciting. Genshin at Star Realm more important. Yeah. I see it stutters every so often. Is it the game or my streaming? Because your video stays good. Game stuttered. It's stuttering because of shaded compilation stutter. So when there's a new animation or effect, then the emulator has to stop the game until that shader is generated, and then it can continue. So it stutters because of that. I mean, technically, if I keep letting this run as a demo in the background, it should cache everything, but it ain't done yet. So that's why you don't see it. That's why you see it stutter. It's not 100% smooth. That's why I have the video in the background. See, and you can see that I've got this webcam showing the screen as well. So you can see that it stutters. Yeah, I dug into the third part 2 update and I didn't see any indication of Catalyst or iOS OnStar Mac port. It's also getting 120 Hz and Metal Effects, so fingers crossed. Well, Metal Effects could be on an iPad port too, but yeah, a Mac port, an Apple Silicon Mac port with high frame rate, proper upscaling, proper high resolution assets, should be good, I hope. Not that I play any HoYoverse games anyway, but I think that the community would be very excited to see a big company with, you know, a huge player base actually participate in the Mac operating ecosystem. That would be really cool to see. Yeah. Got you. I'm still going to support on Patreon either way. Any old versions are still sick. Enrico Magnific. Okay, I got to look this guy up. Who is Enrico? Who is this? I imagine it's a model of some kind. Enrico. Who's this? Musical artist? Oh, texture packs. Oh, makes texture packs, eh? Interesting. Locked. Oh, so like texture packs, updating stuff for, modding stuff for high resolution. Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining my stream. Apple probably paid them, to be honest, yes, but it's a good kind of payment, right? It means that it would be nice not to have to use all of these workarounds, play cover or yet another anime game launcher, and use these translation layers in order to get these games working. It would be nice to just have them work. HoYoverse and Apple are already very chummy, so it makes it all the more surprising because HoYoverse gets so much screen time on the Apple stage, right? It's just weird that they don't have a Mac version. They must have talked about a Mac version for a really long time, and you know, why is it taking so long? It's weird. Why? Even though I've played my 2DS, Citra was my go-to emulator to play 3DS games on my Windows PC and my Android phone. Yeah, it's quite surprising you can play 3DS on a phone. It'd be nice if they had an iOS version, but that's never going to happen, I'm afraid. Enrico Magnific. This is surreal. Yeah, you've been Googled on the live stream. Excessive building. I still use Safari, book free from the Google Market to some degree, although I admit I have Firefox installed just in case. I don't really like Safari very much, but it is the most efficient browser on the Mac. So if you want to save a lot of battery, then use Safari instead of Chrome. It's like way more efficient. The texture packs will stay available most definitely. Yeah, that's, you know, it didn't even think about, it didn't even occur to me that texture packs might be an issue. Are they generated, are they upscaled, or are they like redone textures? Do they contain copyrighted material, or do you use AI? Because copyright is all about like the origins of things. Like if you modify something, then a piece of art, then you need permission from the creator or the original copyright holder in order to make those modifications. If you created it from scratch, then that should be clear. But if those designs are based on copyrighted material, then no, you can't do that either. So probably with upscaling texture packs, you probably on a technical level have a legal issue. But if you're not very big, then it's very unlikely that Nintendo would care about texture pack compared to like the piracy of games on alternate platforms. That's like a much bigger deal. Okay. This is quite a cool level. It's all cake. God, I have way too much cake this weekend from this birthday party I went to. Ridiculous. Can't even think about cake. Someone said that they're like a Double Dash remake. I think that would be really cool, just to spice things up a bit, because the Double Dash was a good good evolution of some of the mechanics. Okay, last lap. Like I can't really imagine like the graphics of because they're so stylized. I can't imagine Mario Kart getting better in terms of graphics. Like, isn't this like peak graphics? I mean, how much better could it possibly be? Like better textures, maybe? I mean, a Nintendo Switch is still a Switch 2 is still going to be a handheld device. Right, are we going to get much faster, much higher resolutions? I don't think so, because it's still got to sit next to your face. 1440p maybe? Yeah. Unlikely. Ah, Luigi, baby Luigi, as well. Wait, 4. I still use Safari. I broke free from Google Market. Oh, I read that one. Chrome is the worst. It bypasses Apple's built-in tracking protections and puts hooks into parts of your system it has no business touching. I don't know. When you install Chrome, don't you just drag it into the applications folder? What permissions does it violate on your Mac? There's nothing else installed, is there? The new rule. Does this mean that all emulators going away? I mean, Isaac says no, but it's going to affect the emulation landscape for years to come, because it just means that people will be more afraid to do more bold things. Like, how much of Yuzu development is influenced by the direct result of their massive Patreon? You know, and if people can't benefit from their dev work on an emulator, will it attract as many talented programmers? It's hard to say. And people will be much more careful about the kind of things that they post online. I mean, even this modder, Henrico Magnifico, is having second thoughts about gating their content behind a Patreon wall, a paid wall. So, it's going to have an impact for all modders, all emulator creators, all the websites which host these things. if you can't incorporate your company in your LLC in America, you have to incorporate it somewhere else. That's added cost, complication. Yeah, so this is going to reverberate for years, decades even. Texture Packs is doing a disservice. They have normal mapping, ambient occlusion. It's like a whole new game. Well, cool. Check out his videos. Yeah, I'll check them out. Watching this almost makes me want to play on my Switch. Yeah. Switch 2 is likely to be a spec bump. Some REing in the current Switch software suggests it could be the same operating system to RE, reverse engineering, right? I think that Nintendo would be very wise to give it a spec bump and continuing the success, because if they do anything radical, it's going to just ruin everything, like they did with the Wii U and the Wii. They're trying to build a successor to the Wii, and the Wii U was a huge mistake. And Nintendo have been quite innovative, but I think the Switch is kind of like the final form of their console. You want a great handheld and console all in one, and it would be great if you could have the same controllers, the same Joy-Cons. It'd be really good if they stayed in the same ecosystem. And these game consoles, why not? Why not? Companies like Apple make so much money just from spec bumps, so why shouldn't Nintendo do it too? It makes it easier for the customer too, because all the software will work, everything will just work. It'll just be able to run more advanced games. Excess Wielding says, is crossover considered emulation? Well, Wine, it uses Wine, which is technically not an emulator. It's got nothing to do, crossover's got nothing to do with any of this emulation drama, I'm afraid. Yeah. What am I using? This is RyuJinx. I was playing some Citra earlier as well. This is a 3DS emulator. Nintendo sued Ultra HLE and 64 emulator in 1999, and N64 emulation still came out on top. I'm sure that emulation of the Switch will still continue. It's just made it a more dangerous landscape, I think. Johnny C. Graphics improvements are diminishing returns these days. Long gone are the big bumps. Yeah. Nintendo did some great design work. This game looks like iconic, right? I mean, I'm running this at the native resolution. Looks amazing. Like I can't really think it could be. I mean, I can imagine it. Like, there's a difference between this and say like the Mario movie. That big budget CGI, but it looks amazing. Like if this was the next Mario, I'd be quite happy anyway. Honestly, they don't need a big screen to res boost. I couldn't imagine they could go higher than 1080p. They're diminishing returns in motion. I think that I remember seeing a retro handheld being using a 1440p screen, which was that one. It's quite a small one as well. Which one is it? There was one which was announced recently. Is that Odin? No. The Aya. Odin 2? It's not the Odin 2. It was like there was a small handheld released with a 1440p screen recently, or announced recently. I think it was the not Metroid. It was what was the other one? Anbanic. It was like a black slab. Which one was it? Can't remember what the name is. Wasn't there a rumor way back in the day that Nintendo and Apple were going to team up? That's very unlikely. I mean, Nintendo and Apple did team up because Nintendo released a bunch of iOS games, like the Mario Kart game, there's the Mario platformer, the kind of touch-based Mario platformer. But that wasn't that happened. So why is my webcam turned off? It thinks it's sleeping or something. Just because I've had it on the whole time. I'm gonna turn it on again. It's on. Turning on. Do I have a ROG Ally? It's pretty amazing how that one is not that big and all it can run. I don't have a ROG Ally, ROG Ally. I have a Steam Deck. I just bought a Steam Deck OLED, which I'm very happy with. I really like the Steam Deck OLED. I think that a handheld without a sleep function, without a reliable sleep function, is pretty much completely useless. So I like the fact that on a Steam Deck, which I've got right in front of me here. I love the fact that you can just like turn it on and just resume the game that you were playing. I've been playing a bit of Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, and I love that you can just like, because of the magic of SteamOS, the fact is that you can just kind of play it and pause whenever you want. It actually makes it better than a PC running Windows in many ways, and just pick it up later, and it doesn't drain much battery. It's like a great device. So huge advantage for the Steam Deck, I'd say, compared to any kind of Windows handheld, even a Steam Deck running Windows. I just wouldn't bother anymore. I would just run it through SteamOS, through Linux. The sleep function is the best part of the machine, by far. Do you think Nintendo will also go after RyuJinx? That's what we've been discussing all this time. We've got Isaac Ryu in the chat who does work on RyuJinx. Maybe, I don't know. The new tracks of MK8 are so lazy though. Hello Andrew, the M3 Air just coming out in March 8th. You should test it. So Mintech, hi, welcome to the stream, Mintech. I have ordered an M3 MacBook Air, and it is coming on Friday. So very likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a live stream of testing out some games on the M3 Air. So it's the 8GB HGPU core version, so it's like a really low spec machine compared to all the others. And I'll be doing the full spec. I think on the live stream I'll just test out all the games, so it'll be an interesting one. I think I'll schedule it for Friday at a similar time, probably like 9 p.m. instead of 10. So yeah, that'll be fun. Steam Deck is amazing too, love it. I totally agree. The sleep function is on the ROG Ally crap. So I've tried Windows handhelds before in the past. So I used to have one called the GPD Win 2. It's like a clamshell one with running Windows. And you know, the big disadvantage of like a clamshell is that you want to put it in a clamshell like a 2DS or something, but whenever I opened it, like either Windows would crash or wouldn't resume properly. It was terrible because then you have to boot up Windows all over again and it'll take like 3 or 4 minutes just to get back into a game to where you were. That's if you like manually save correctly. And so as a handheld, it was a poor experience. So SteamOS is like a revelation. I wish that SteamOS could come out on other handheld devices properly. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, Gold Master Sims Lenovo Legion Go. It just has a 1600p screen. Yeah, the Legion Go. I haven't seen it in person, but that thing's too big, way too big for a handheld. Might as well just use a laptop instead. That's what I think. Okay. Oh god, I think I'm kind of tapped out on the stream today. It's been very fun. It'd be quite funny. Like I titled this like, you know, emulating Nintendo games on a Mac until the stream gets taken down. And like if I just cut my internet or something and pretended this whole thing got striked or something, that'd be quite funny. If I didn't have like an outro. But I'm coming to the end of the stream now because I need to go to bed. It's nearly 1 a.m. Just answer the last comments on stream. Talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, the PC handhelds can be whatever because PC games have a lot more flexibility graphics settings. Yeah. RyuJinx seems to know what they're doing way better than Yuzu does. Legally, maybe, yeah. There's no organization to target. You'd have to target each individual contributor, which is complicated because the main one is in Brazil. So that's a weird one. Switch 2, I can't see Nintendo spending big money on high-res screens. There's not much benefit to them or the games or battery life. I agree. It'd be interesting if they called it like the Switch Pro or something, just give it a spec bump. Maybe they would push the internal screen from like 720p to 1080p. But you know, the Steam Deck doesn't even have a 1080p screen, and this is great. It's a great machine. And you know, these days, right, you can buy a Steam Deck LCD for £349, about $349. A new Switch would be about $300, and the Steam Deck is so much better value in like so many ways. But there are lots of things the Steam Deck can't do. Like it doesn't easily do party games in the same way that the Switch can, because the Joy-Con is such a simple way to pair the devices and built-in 4-player. Whereas the Steam Deck, if you wanted 4 players to play a game, that's a bit of a controller pairing Bluetooth nightmare. But in every other way, for single-player games, like the Steam Deck is just far better. You have so many more games. The games are way cheaper as well. The sales are way better than the eShop or whatever. The Steam Deck is a winner, no doubt. Yeah. Excessive building. Having had the M3 Max, I can't imagine going back to an Air. The Air is I would say the Air is a bad product in terms of like the MacBook Air, you know, is not a good value proposition, right? Because 8 gigabytes is not enough, right? So if you've decided that 8 gigabytes is not enough, then you want to upgrade to let's say you want to take the cheapest one, and then you want to go to 16 gigabytes. So that's 1299, right? But if you were to go just buy a MacBook Pro, and you don't want to get this MacBook Pro with the M3, you want the M3 Pro here. You want the base model. Is that the cheapest one? Can't be the cheapest one. God, it's so expensive. Yeah, you want the M3 Pro. 2090. I guess. Okay, that is a big difference in cost. The 800 difference. But if you consider the fact that there's a SSD boost, and so the M3 base with 512 and 16 gig, you know, if you're going to get 512 and 18 gig, you know, the difference between like 1499 and 209, it's about £600. Or this is like US dollar pricing too, roughly. The M3 Pro is just way better than the base, and the fact that we've got fans. I guess the value proposition is different compared to like the M3 MacBook Pro, because this thing's awful. This thing's the worst because you really want more than 8 gigabytes of RAM, and so to upgrade the RAM, you're getting very close to that M3 Pro price. But the MacBook Air is cheaper, substantially cheaper, even with that 16 gig. This stuff is so expensive. I can't believe Apple charged so much for this stuff. Yeah, the main argument for Nintendo is that Tears of the Kingdom stuff. As Goldmaster Sim says, users' conduct was encouraging piracy and they were circumventing DRM to get the keys. Okay. Isaac Ryu, how do you afford all those Macs? Well, almost all the Macs that I test, I return. So I have extremely, in the UK, we have extremely generous returns policies. So I bought I did videos on M3 Pro and the 3 Max, and I bought them at the end of October, and I only returned them in early January. So I had them for months, right? Because the distance selling laws in the UK, if you buy something, you have 2 weeks to return. You have 14 days to decide if the thing that you bought is meets your expectations, and you can return it as long as it's in its original condition. And Apple at the time also had this policy that if you bought something around November time, then you could return it after Christmas, basically after January. So I basically took advantage of those to squeeze as much time as possible. I will return this MacBook Air M3. It is basically a useless machine for me. It probably gets similar performance to the M3 I tested from the MacBook Pro. But yeah, basically, I'm not going to keep it. Also, the last 2 years have been very good to me. I can afford to buy a lot of these Macs anyway, thanks to all the sponsors that I've gotten, the affiliates that I do, and it just comes out of business expense, so I can afford it if I wanted to. But I kind of blew my budget on stuff that I didn't need by buying this M3 Max. This was an expensive laptop, so I kind of don't need extra ones. So I've got a good range of Macs to test with. M1 MacBook Air, M2 MacBook Air, M1 Max MacBook Pro, and the M3 Max here. So I've got 4 machines to test on. I'm kind of missing that mid-range. Maybe I should keep the M3 MacBook Air. Who knows? Yeah. Okay. MacBooks are overpriced and featureless. Well, no, MacBooks have a lot of really good features, and I really started appreciating gaming on a Mac a lot more once I got myself a low-end gaming Windows PC. For various reasons, I had to acquire a PC, and let me just go. So this is like a gigabyte gaming PC. It has I think it's got a 3060 RTX GPU inside it, and this thing is like a brick. It's so like heavy and thick, and yeah, it's got all the ports that you might want: USB-A, USB-C, but and there's the power supply socket is there, but you've got to carry a whole bloody power supply. You're tethered to this thing the whole time. This chunky boy, not compatible with USB-C, right? And if you don't plug this in, if you don't plug in your power supply, then your gaming performance completely tanks. So it's like useless. It's useless without this, right? And it's loud as hell. It's so loud. Like you can put it onto quiet mode, which completely kills the performance. So like we're running on Power World at like 20 FPS if you put it on quiet mode. But if you let it go at any level of performance, it is like the loudest fans ever. So I really appreciate the fact that Macs are sleek machines, and even if we run Macs at like max volume in terms of like fan speed, it's still very pleasant compared to Windows laptops that I've experienced, Windows gaming laptops. and a big improvement over the Intel Macs of the past, which were very loud as well, like high pitched, you know, terrible. Isaac Ryu, lol, I'm British. I didn't know it was that generous. The returns policy is crazy. I've returned like over 30 or 40,000 pounds worth of Macs over the last 3 or 4 years. 3 years, right? You could, right, just keep buying Macs and keep returning them over and over and over again and treat it as a rental, right? I don't think that I talked to another YouTuber called Created Tech. He's Australian, and he's done a similar thing. He buys Macs and then returns them in Australia, and you could just keep doing it. We haven't found a limit yet of Macs that you can actually return. Captain Dorkington, I had an M3 Max in my cart for like a solid month. Hard to let go of that much money. Yeah, M3 Max is expensive. And especially considering the fact that, you know, if you wait another 9 months, you're going to have an even more powerful M4 Max probably in about 9 or 10 months. The build quality, yeah. Excessive beadling. The build quality of the Windows PC versus the M3 Max. The Apple build quality is just amazing. And I've had so many problems in the past with Windows laptops. They just don't last. Like, of course, this Gigabyte, right? It's made of, it's made of plastic, right? Obviously, you can buy similar build quality of Macs as well. Okay, this thing was not expensive. It's like 700 or 800 pounds for this laptop. The big advantage of the Windows computer is basically it plays everything. You have to worry about software not working. It just works fine. Everything just works. But there are a lot of sacrifices. Heavy, thick, noisy, poor quality build, a lot of flex in the keyboard. Compare that to like a MacBook Air M1, which is kind of like not the same price, but the similar price range, right? It's just such a much better machine, even though the specs are way worse. Okay. Well, there's a lot of chat happening right now. Yeah. Johnny C, I usually get and recommend Apple's top spec available in the stores. You can usually upgrade beyond that, and their high-end machines will last a decade. Yeah. Isaac, really, my Mac is still good for now, but whiskey testing is pretty intensive. Sometimes can take an age to test games. Isaac, you deserve a better computer. You shouldn't be using an M1 chip anymore. You deserve something better. With the amount of work that you do, you should probably crowdsource yourself like a better machine. The day I can play Slime Rancher 1 and 2 on my Mac, my Windows PCs will get sold. I think you can play Slime Rancher 1. Doesn't Slime Rancher 1 have a Mac port? Oh, am I wrong? I've definitely played Slime Rancher on the Mac before, using some kind of compatibility layer. I can actually game without much fear on my Mac on battery as opposed to my Win machine. It's loud. Yeah. The thing about the Mac is that, especially native ARM games, they can be very efficient. You can run games efficiently. You can also run games inefficiently. Run Cyberpunk 2077 through all those translation layers. Yeah, it's gonna be bad. I can actually game without it's Windows PowerBrick. I hate PowerBricks. I hate these PowerBricks because they're so like big. They're so big and chunky, and the worst thing is that the laptops have to have the wattage in order to work correctly. When I travel with my MacBook, I always use a low wattage charger. I only ever take let me find one. I don't have one to hand, but I only ever take the 65 watt travel chargers with me, right? Because that's all I ever need. Even though the MacBook Pro 16-inch can easily take 140 watt charger, that's a big chunky thing. The travel charger 65 watt is plenty because yeah, it doesn't charge as fast as it can run if you are running a big game on it or something. But you know, if you only play for like a couple of hours, then I'd rather have the lighter charger. And the fact is that the MacBook Pro runs just as you know, M3 Max runs just as fast on battery as it does on a charge. It actually probably runs faster without being charged because of less heat. And that's it. Like that's huge, right? That's huge. And you know, otherwise the Mac that the Windows laptop that I have there just requires this huge power supply, which I hate. There are some gaming PCs which use USB-C power delivery charging these days. I probably will pick one up in the future. Yeah. Johnny C, it's useless. I was talking about the power brick. So a lot of Windows computers, laptops, if they don't have the power brick, then they won't reach the correct performance level. Yeah. I'm in the market, Goldmaster Sims, I'm in the market for a replacement for my Intel-based MacBook Pro. Eventually, some Windows gaming laptops have also been good, so it's hard for me to choose, especially Lenovo's. I think some of the Lenovo Legions have USB-C charging, so that's appealing to me. I know you play a lot of simulation games, which are all Windows-based, so you should probably get a Windows computer because all the peripherals and everything, all the game compatibility is a lot better on Windows PCs for now. What gaming do you suggest for an M2 Max or M3 Pro? I'm pretty sure the M2 Max outperforms the M3 Pro. Not sure yet. The M3 is supposed to have some advantages in the fact that we have ray tracing, hardware ray tracing, but there's nothing that takes advantage of that. So if I were you, I would just get an M2 Max. Manuel says, I worked for Apple in the office a while ago. There are actually more things, especially UK people, do with Apple products. It's common all over Europe, but UK people do this trick the most. Don't know if I can write it here. What are you talking about? Lars Khan, where can I find the latest build of... Are you talking about Yuzu or are you talking about Citra? So if you look at the Apple Gaming Wiki Discord, somebody's posted a link to a recent build of macOS Citra. You can get it there. RIP Yuzu, Mario Spaghetti, never forget. I use earbuds a lot, so I don't really notice it, but they're pretty loud. I also like the Apple software is more optimized and refined, but I'd rather go the Windows PC. Fair enough, yeah. It's all personal preference. I think, Nick. What's your favorite color on the MacBook? Asked Mintech. I do like the black. So if I show you can't really show you on camera, I guess. But the black looks really cool. I think I wasn't so sure about it when I first heard about it, but I'm impressed with the black look. Silver is good as well. I just named the two colors, but I do like the new black of the M3 generation. My family got an iMac back in 2008 and it still works to this day, although it's kind of slow. It just goes to show how long they're built to last. iMac 2008, I've worked with a lot of those in the past. Plugging in a solid state drive internally and pretty good. Good times. Good times with an iMac 2008. I think the 2013 ones are still... The 2012 Retina ones and later, they're all very good as well. You know, that's a machine that's like 12 years old now, and I'd still use it if I had to. Yeah. The Wonton. I've enjoyed playing Phantasmphobia on medium settings through whiskey. Okay. Okay, glad that works. The 140 watt power brick that I have from M3 is a big boy. So the good thing about the Max is that you don't need to carry that. My 65 watt charger is so light, and let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so here we go. I did find one. This 65 watt charger is so light, and it's my travel charger. So it has the Euro plug, the British plug, and it's got the US plug as well, and it's got 2 USB A's and 2 USB C's here, and then it's got the 65 watt power delivery slot on the side here. This is like my ultimate go-to charger. You can find variations of this on Amazon. There's like, I'm pretty sure it's an OEM. Like there's loads of brands of this which are all the same basically. I love this charger, and it's so light. It's very, very light, and and I've got so many charge ports as well, so I can charge loads of different things at once. But if I need I can just plug in one USB-C charger here, get 65 watt, which is plenty for my needs. It charges the Steam Deck, charges the MacBook Pro. It won't charge the MacBook Pro if you're doing a heavy load, so it'll drain a little bit. But you should be using a computer for more than like 3 or 4 hours anyway, and it will easily last that long. Okay. I can't figure out how to get Assetto Corsa Content Manager working. Yeah, with mods, you probably want to use a virtual machine or something. It might be easier. I fully support the crowdsource a new Mac for Isaac idea. I think that you have the ability to do it, Isaac. If I would just do it. You're 7. Oh, are you 17 years old? Seriously? I thought you were way older than that with all these dev skills. Isaac, I will just create a Patreon in your and all you need to do with the Patreon is to get like a PayPal account and get it funded through there, or just take donations through a coffee or something. Lenovo Legion 5 has USB-C charging. Nick, does your Lenovo Legion 5 perform well on lower powered USB-C charging? Hello, Andrew. The Yuzu guys took a lawyer and they're going against Nintendo. They will defend themselves in front of court. That's not what I heard. Isn't there a settlement happening? Pretty sure that's still happening, right? Nothing's changed in the last hour, right? This is only 6 hours ago that it got announced. Yeah, they settle for. Yeah, that's not right. Yeah, Isaac says it's definitely settled for 2.4 million. Is there a delay on the stream or something? I just heard you respond to my message. Yeah, I'm just going through all of the old messages. So I'm trying to go. I'm trying to go on. There is a delay. This delay is like 10 seconds or something. But I'm just reading through all the old messages. The British and Euro plugs take up so much more space than JPN. The good thing about the British plug is that it is, if you're on a flight, right, this is like the ultimate charger for it, because the airline sockets that you have are like, they don't always work very well. Sometimes having multiple sockets means that you can use different ones, because sometimes they hang a bit badly against the airplane seat or something. I did a lot of flying last year, so this kind of helped me a lot. RyuJinx, you can play multiplayer with other RyuJinx users, not the proper Nintendo online, but like local online you can play. I did a video on it last year, so you can check it out. Multiplayer on RyuJinx. You could play you can play some basic games like I tested out Splatoon 3, yeah, and that worked with 2 different Macs running RyuJinx. GPU code is a legend for his work on Citra and Yuzu, also under 18, but codes like a god. These talented guys. Yeah, Isaac, I'm very impressed you're 17 years old. If I were you, I would leverage this into a career of some kind. Or you know, I think my son is only 12, right? He doesn't have any technical skills. He's raised on iPad. And yeah, I would leverage it into something monetize it somehow. Yeah. Andy says, does RyuJinx work with the actual Switch controllers, including motion and all that stuff? Yes, it does. If you've got Joy-Cons, it'll work. Actually, I haven't tried it on USB charger, but I have a 45-watt charger I could try it on. Yeah, give it a go. Let me know. Will Windows ARM ever be able to be installed on macOS Silicon? No, I don't think Windows ARM is ever coming to Apple Silicon Macs. The official way, to run Windows 11 ARM is through Parallels. That's the official partner of Windows, and the official way to run Windows on a Mac. So I don't think that's changing anytime soon. I made a video a couple of years ago about Qualcomm having a exclusivity for ARM, for Windows 11 ARM, and I don't think that's changed. User has a permanent injunction. They've got to get $2.4 million. No more user development. The internet broken telephone or rumors is spiraling again. Yeah. Only phone channel recently says shit video quality. Your videos have been really helpful. Thank you. Since I'm going to be upgrading to Apple Silicon soon and really figuring out that game porting toolkit. Plan is definitely to go into software development, says Isaac. Got to get through uni first. Yeah. You didn't have to go to university. If you're a talented programmer, you could apply for a job straight away. You don't need a degree. It doesn't hurt though. It doesn't hurt to have a degree, and it's a key part of getting some corporate jobs. But I don't think you need a degree these days. You could earn money now. Isaac Ryu does a lot of stuff with whiskey, and yeah, you should ask him. How does Harry Potter run with the new frame generation stuff? I had a lot of trouble getting Harry Potter to run without any frame generation on my M3 Max. I need to test it on. Maybe it's like a bug with my M3 Max. I don't know. But basically, I can only get it to run like 2 or 3 frames per second. That's without any frame generation enabled. So I'm not sure what the issue is. I'll test it on my M1 Max again because they used to run really well on that. Do I play any mobile games? I was finally able to play Warzone Mobile pre-release. I don't play mobile games generally speaking. Not big online multiplayer ones anyway. I play like smaller games. Like I play a lot of Slay the Spire on my iPhone, but that's pretty much it. In terms of games, I did try to play Death Stranding on the iPhone. It is terrible on the phone. I'd much rather play it on the Mac. Yeah, so do you do YouTube full-time or as a hobby? Or so what's your job? Yeah, YouTube is my full-time gig, I suppose. I don't do... I would say that I work on YouTube part-time. I don't spend all my time doing it. Um, I would say I've been paid well in the last few years. Thanks to all the support from everyone, is all the affiliates, all the sponsors. I've had a good year. I used to be a librarian. I finished university and I joined my university's academic library. I used to work in an academic library. That was a lot of fun. It's a very boring job though, because like 50-70% of the time I did nothing. Like sitting on a desk, reception desk. People ask like, where's the photocopier? How do I print this out? I want to add credit onto my thing. A lot of the book borrowing was like self-service, even back in 2009. And I spent a lot of time. I used to take a little USB stick in, and I had World of Warcraft installed on it. And I used to just in my break times, I'd go to the student computer, log in, and then I could play World of Warcraft portably on those like little integrated machines. And yeah, I used to waste a lot of time. It was a kind of a dead end job, but I did that for like 3 years or something. It was very easy. But there were some stressful periods when, like the beginning of the year, people would come get in the library, helping them out, and that was could be very stressful. A lot of people waiting for services, don't know how to do things for the first time. But other than that, it was a very easy job. Pay was okay, but it was very easy. I did. What was my degree? My degree was in philosophy. So I did a philosophy BA philosophy. Also, I did a master's in philosophy as well, and I used to specialize in continental philosophy. My main interest was in Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus. Love existentialism. So I really loved philosophy. But after finishing my degree and then graduating university, I wanted to become an academic librarian. But during my master's degree, I realized that I was not very good. I was not a very original thinker, right? And I didn't want to compete against other philosophers in these positions, because there are very few academic philosopher jobs in the world. So like in every university, there's a handful of positions. And so I knew that if I was going to get really low pay and then I'd have to accept a job anywhere in the world or anywhere in the country, I could be, anywhere that's got a free space, I'd have to just take it. And I quite like living in London. It's a high cost of living city. What happened is that after I did librarianship for a few years, I started my own business doing like IT computer Mac repairs. And I used to go to people's houses and fix their computers, their Macs. And I got involved in extremely high-end, wealthy clients. So I used to go to like people's houses, and then they'd hire me for like crazy amounts of money. I used to get paid £90 an hour, and this woman would hire me, and like she would tell me to like, oh, I want you to get rid of all the spam in my email, right? So I'd be sitting there in an office, in a home office in South Kensington, right? And in this like £5 million house, right? And she'd just leave me alone, and I'd be there for like 3 hours, 4 hours, just like looking at all her email, unsubscribing her spam, and then sorting out her calendars. Once she got me to like, she had all these children and going on holiday, and then she had like 3 tablets, right, one for each child, and then she just get me to like, oh, I want you to install iPlayer and then like download each child's like favorite cartoons. So just be sitting there with like 3 iPads, and then like downloading, just be pressing download on like CBBS on 3 iPads. It's getting paid £90 an hour. You just download content. And then one time the guy hired me to like sort out his internet in the south of France. So he hired me and my wife. He paid for the plane tickets. I stayed in his beach house for like a week, and I did very minor work on on this on this uh, on this house in Toulon, right on the beach. It was beautiful. It was one of the best jobs I did. That was fun. Do I know the Dewey Decimal System? I try to forget. Libraries have become seriously cool community hubs in some cities. Yeah, I think libraries are a great resource. If you they're a great place to work, and a great place to access all sorts of things. Like in our local library here, the public library is like you have your computers, you can rent games, you can rent DVDs. There's all these books you could, not just the ones on the shelf, but you can order. You can order books, pretty much any book that you want. Comic books. Our library has like a huge graphic novel section. Libraries in the UK especially are just such a great resource. It's a really nice place to. It's somewhere warm that you can go to and sit down and work with Wi-Fi. Yeah. Oh yeah, Johnny C. I have seen A Good Place. I really like The Good Place. It's a good show. It's. I found the ending very interesting, very philosophical. This idea of spoiler alert, but like repeating life, having life last forever. Like, how does that change your perspective? Like, if you ever read any Nietzsche, like the idea of an eternal return, like if you live your life and you expect to like have to repeat it over and over again, what would you do differently? The Good Place kind of explores so many aspects of philosophy: ethical, philosophical, metaphysical. And it's funny as well. I found it hilarious, the whole exploration of the tram problem. The tram problem, where you want the tram to run over one person, or 5 people, or you divert it and it kills one person. That whole exploration of that is very, very, very funny. Yeah, £90 an hour for that. Yeah, I used to get paid so much money, ridiculous amounts of money, for doing nothing, right? For waiting, like, because I ran my own business, right? I would charge people like cancellation fees as well. So if they cancel on me, then I would just bill them and they'd pay. Like one of the best jobs I did as well was like someone just hired me to do this tech support for this like magic TV show for and they paid me £400 for the day, and all I had to do was I literally set up an iMac. So the magic trick was like the magician would know the guy's know the target's email password, or one of their password, right? And then we were in Piccadilly Circus, and the idea is that the Troy, the magician, would like point at somebody in the crowd and then say, I know what your password is. And then you point to the billboard in Piccadilly Circus and like, that's your password. So what the production company did for this TV show is that we set up this iMac, and my job was basically supply the Mac, install a keylogger onto the Mac, and then the production crew would get the victim to like type in their password or log into a service or something, and then I'd capture the password. Then they'd hired out this billboard in Piccadilly Circus, and they would the graphics guy mocked it up and made a huge banner with the person's password on it. So when Troy pointed at the person in the crowd, which was picked out, they got it to display for like a few seconds on this giant billboard, and like really shocked the guy because he'd like come into the cafe and typed his password in, and then he could get it to display on this big screen in the middle of Piccadilly Circus. Wealthy people just think everyone is their personal assistant because then they throw money around. Why did they fly out for network issues if you're qualified philosophy and not IT? Well, the thing is, right, that in the world of personal IT repair, you don't need a qualification to do IT. I'm just very good at, I've always been very interested in computers. So I've always known how to fix things. And when I learned how to use Macs, Apple computers, there are actually very few people who know Apple computers well. And all the rich people use Apple Macs and they don't really understand how to use it. And if you're available, like you can just turn up, you can call up. If you can turn up and be reliable and sort of know how to fix a problem, then you can easily start a business doing this. Like I quit this business now to do YouTube, but if I was doing it still, I would be making a ton of money off it still. It can be unstable work. You get a few clients like you, word of mouth works wonders. Yeah. I do light IT work for a couple of wealthy clients and they just throw money at me for stupidest things. Yeah. Yes, it is. What made my business work really well was that the fact that I was connected to a school in a wealthy area of London, and so I could work that community. I became well known in the community there, just through parents and parents knowing other parents, and then they just led me down this path. Because I used to live in Tufnell Park, which is part of North London. It's not a super wealthy part, but somehow that just leapfrogged me down into Islington, into Camden, and then all the way into Mayfair, and then South Kensington, where the ultra wealthy live. And I don't know what, I don't know. I was always busy. I was always busy. And I kind of got a bit sick of it because wealthy people, they just, they don't really value your time very much. And, you know, I, and they never learned anything. Like I had this one client, she just kept calling me whenever she forgot her password. She would just literally just call me and ask me, what is my password for this thing? And I had this like, it was terrible. It was, it would be a GDPR breach now. But I had this like list of like commonly asked passwords from her, for just like her email, her Apple ID, her website, all of this stuff I would just have in notes on my phone. And when she called me, I'll bill her. I'll bill her for 15 minutes, and because that was like my minimum call cost, and then I'd have to like, and she just do it all the time, even in the middle of the night. I mean, sometimes she would email me like at like 3 a.m. or something, and sometimes I would be up. Back then I would be up quite a lot. I'm a fan of Jordan Peterson's stuff. He talks a lot about Nietzsche and whatnot. Some aspects of Jordan Peterson are interesting. I wouldn't say I'm a fan. Nietzsche is a controversial figure in philosophical circles. His work can be used to, can be used to justify a lot of things. Even like Nietzschean thought, like the will to power, can be used to justify a lot of evil things. But it's a very interesting philosophical idea. If you can deal with doctors, which are the most educated stupid people I know, IT in the medical field pays well. Yeah. I think the thing is, like, I don't have an IT degree, so I could never work in a corporate environment because I'm not qualified in any way. But I know my way around a Mac, so that's why. You got bored or why you stopped? I stopped because I started doing YouTube in like 2020, and I just found it more interesting to do YouTube than to go out, because like when I deal with clients, I have to physically get to clients' houses, and it tends to be all over London, so there's a lot of places I have to go. It's time away from family, and it's stressful as well because I have to keep remembering. I have to schedule my time. I have to travel a lot. It was a good job. I met a lot of really interesting people, had a lot of celebrity clients. I did work for Charles Dance, he's Tywin Lannister in Game of Thrones. I did work for the Miliband's, who, if you know anything about the Miliband, Ed Miliband, politician. I did work for, let me think, Giles Corran, the food critic in the UK. I did a lot, and his wife Esther Corran even wrote an article about me in the Times. She wrote an article about she wrote an article about how much she loved my service, having an IT person on hand to fix all our stuff. She just loved it. She loved it so much she wrote something in the Times about it. Okay, let's see. Oh, so Isaac, you're a Camden resident. That means that you live really close to me. I live in Muswell Hill. So, and I used to live in Tufnell Park, and I go to Kentish Town a lot. So you are local to me. So maybe we should meet up sometime. Yeah, you don't need a qualification, if anything computer related, really. You just need a foot in the door. That's what I always think as well. Portfolio is more important. So if Isaac makes a good portfolio, which he already has in many ways, then that's probably a good idea. Is the stream going to stop if you get sleepy? I am really sleepy now, so I'm going to go to sleep in a minute. Ed Miliband. Yeah, Ed Miliband. The Milibands live in North London. They live in Dartmouth Park. And based in... There's families all over the place in North London, including Primrose Hill. So those are the areas. Goldmaster Sims, I already found a PC Gaming Wiki before you got into Mac gaming. How long were you regularly using Macs in other ways? So it's quite funny, right? I started PC Gaming Wiki in 2012. I never used a Mac until about 2014 or 15. Okay, the way I got into Macs is quite funny. Okay, so how did I get into a Macs for the first time? My father used to have rental property in Birmingham, right? And he rented it to these like very wealthy Chinese international students, right? And when the students left, they just left a MacBook behind. So this was like 2013, and the MacBook that they left behind, MacBook Pro, was a pristine condition MacBook Pro 2008. It was before the unibody. It was the one with the silver keys, 15-inch, right? So I figured out how to wipe it. I tried to play Team Fortress 2 on it, didn't work. But it was an interesting experience because I got it. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I've always used Windows laptops in the past. I really want to try using a Mac. And then that's where I kind of got interested in it. And it really picked up when I started doing IT work. So I thought, okay, I can help people install a printer or set up a computer. But then, all my clients had Macs, right? And so I just kind of learned on the job. How do you fix a Mac? How do you do this? How do you do that? And eventually leading to specializing in Macs in the end. Yeah. So, so those two things got really, really interested in Mac computers in the end. If they offered you a ton of money like that one France trip, would you do it? I don't need the money anymore, so I wouldn't do things for it. I would do something if it was interesting and fun, but my days of like going to people's houses is probably over. Going into businesses, I've got a lot of cool memories and stories. I don't really need more than that anymore. If I were to do it now, I'd probably be charging £110 an hour or something like that. It'd be pretty good money, but it's I'm happier making YouTube videos. I make good money from YouTube videos. I was always a PC guy to begin with. I was the guy who was making fun of Apple users, like, oh crap. But I think the gateway drug as well is because I started My first, I used to use a BlackBerry, and then having the opportunity to use an iPhone really really kind of helped with the integration into the Apple ecosystem, right? Because then you get an iPhone, and it's like, yeah, iPhone's got the best games, got the easiest, the best interface. I like the idea of having an Android phone, but I think the iPhone really appealed to me. And then the iPhone's integration with the PC is terrible, and so it just made sense to get a Mac. But I have both, right? So the streaming PC has an RTX 4070 Ti inside it. It's a great. I mean, I think that PCs are way better for desktops. Desktops are just because you can customize them really easily. I can put in a streaming card. I can put in a PCIe USB extension. I can put in capture card. I've got like 5 hard drives in there. It's just really easy to like customize. I don't really care if it's efficient. Right? I don't really care that much about the build quality. A big PC with big fans, that's great. But when I'm going out, I want a Mac, right? If I want something like really reliable that I know it's going to work, has great battery life, has good build quality, then the MacBook is what you want. So that's why. I was a PC all my life until I started working, was never offered a Mac. I decided to try it despite being an Apple hater, never went back. Yeah. I think for serious work, it's better. I think Macs they don't really get viruses in the same way that Windows computers do. It's just much more reliable. I'm much more at ease with its security on a Mac as well. On a Windows computer, I'm always thinking like, what background processes are running? What crap did I install 3 years ago? It's hard to know exactly what is happening on a Mac. Haroon, no way they just left it. They did not ask about the MacBook. No, the Chinese the Chinese students that left the MacBook behind, I knew that they upgraded because they had like they had a box for the unibody, the 2012 MacBook Pro. They left that too, right? They left the old MacBook inside the new MacBook box. So that's why I knew they didn't care anymore. They didn't leave a charger, so I had to buy my own charger because it's the same MagSafe charger, MagSafe 1 charger for the old 2008 or 2007 MacBook Pro and the 2012. But yeah, some people are just so rich that they just don't care about old MacBooks. I mean, I've got to that stage now, to be honest. So I've got a few here, old MacBooks. Like I've got a 2010 here. I'm just gonna like dump that at some point because it's barely worth selling anymore. Yeah. But bro, you need to go to sleep. Yeah, I can see the tide setting in. I will sleep very soon. It's been 3 hours now. Andrew, either collab with me on a Warframe M1 guide or go to sleep. Please, or sleep. Search emulation good. Yeah, it is good. Who collabing? Who's Amy Virus? What are we collabing with you? Okay, I don't know who you are. Also, with desktop, it's space. You have dramatically more space to work with. Apple's major thing is performance per watt. Exactly. So I don't need performance per watt on a desktop. Don't need it all. Nintendo hates emulators and consider them to be illegal. They'll do anything they can to shut down emulation. That's true. Yeah. Have you tried any desktop AI software? No. I dabbled in a few Git projects. Yeah, I did make note of like there's language models you can install locally, I think. Are there any good ones for Mac? Let me know. I had the black plastic MacBook. That thing fell apart so fast on me. Those the plastic MacBooks were crap. Those ones there was a white, there was like the white rounded one with the rub silicon bottom layer. Those are terrible. And then there was I think there's the 2007s. That's terrible. Yeah. Andrew, wondering how your old Macs are holding up, still mint or worn down? I take pretty good care of my Apple Silicons because they're for work, I suppose. Since I did I still have a few Macs from my Mac repair days, and they are still, well, they're in terrible condition. The Intel Macs haven't done as well as the Apple Silicon ones. Okay. Okay. The black MacBook was your first Mac. Yeah. AI for me is all about GitHub Copilot. Everyone at my company is using it. It makes programming so much more efficient. So is Copilot the same thing as the one that's now integrated into Windows 11? I'm not leaving until we guilt him to go to sleep. Oh, I'm wearing my PJs. This is my Pom Pom Purin t-shirt. This is my sleeping top. Okay, you're right, guys. It is time to go to sleep, and this went on a lot longer than I thought it would. But anyway, thank you for joining me today and saying goodbye to Nintendo Emulation on the Mac, to Citra as well. I hope somebody publishes the latest copy of the Nightly of Citra for macOS online at some point. And hopefully RyuJinx isn't affected too much by all this drama that's happened. I hope that RyuJinx stays forever because it's a great emulator and it works great on the Mac. Anyway, good night. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm probably going to do one on Friday night, similar time, to cover the M3 MacBook Air. But I will see you later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.